Hi, folks. I'm Gene McLaughlin. I'd like to introduce you to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. Today, our guest is our Business Administrator, Himanshu Shah. Our subject is the Township 2021 tax budget that has gone to the council already. We're going to be reviewing that and talking a little bit about the particulars involved with it. One thing I should mention at the beginning of this show, you'll notice that the three of us are sitting together here, and it's been, the discussion about social distancing and all. We have all been fully vaccinated, if you will. Each of us have had proper vaccine treatments, so we feel very comfortable sitting together in case the question comes up, okay? Mayor, having said that.
Hello,
how are you,
Gene. Welcome
Mayor?
back.
Thank
Good
you.
to be here. Thank you so much, Gene.
Mayor, tough year we're coming out of, huh?
Yes, 2020 presented many challenges, like
Right.
for everybody. I don't think
Right.
anyone was exempt. Our residents were impacted, our small businesses were impacted, and so was the community. So, and as the mayor, the head of the community, we had the impacts from COVID, and we're still going through that now. We're still fighting our way through this pandemic, but we do believe that the future looks good. That we should come out of it in 2021. But
Okay.
it did have a huge impact
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sure.
community in 2020 and 2021. I can't even say it.
Yeah, we were going to.
It's gone so fast.
Yeah, we were going to touch a little bit on it later
Sure.
on. Himanshu, if I may, what is the township budget that we're looking at this year that the residents will be presented with?
Good morning, Gene. It's an excellent question. Before I do talk about budget, I want to make sure that I do recognize the staff, Old Bridge employees and management staff.
Right.
We did produce excellent budget, and without their help, it wouldn't be possible. So 2021 budget is about 60.9 million. Compared to 2020 was 59.8 million, and it's about 1.8% increase in the budget. It's the positive things about that I want to say, even though the total budget is increased,
Yes, sir.
the municipal tax has not increased.
Okay.
It remains same as 2020.
Okay.
And we were able to achieve that with all the steps that we took, even with the pandemics.
Okay. Himanshu, the process itself is a long process. What goals or what objectives did you have when you went into the budgeting process?
Municipal budget, yes, it is a long process. In fact, Gene, we already started the 2022 budget process.
You did? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
There's a lot of preparation goes on. And I explained this entire process and entire budget in detail. The budget is available online. Our presentation is online. So any folks, any residents would like to see that, they can go back, they can visit the township website and they'll see the presentations with the full detail. But it's about 8 months process. The process starts
Right.
with the
Wow.
finance department
Yes, sir.
doing their initial analysis calculations, preparing salary calculations based on union contracts. And then it goes from there to have department request their initial request. It gets reviewed by mayor and myself in many meetings that it takes place to go through entire budget line by line with every department.
Yeah, imagine.
From there, we prepare the final budget, give it to the council, and then council goes through the same review. There are
Right.
about 4 workshops held
Yes,
every
sir.
year with the council member and every department. And once again, we go through in those workshops with the council, line by line, explaining all the entire budget.
Okay, thank you, Himanshu. Himanshu, I'm sure the residents want to know one important thing. Any property tax impact as a result of this new budgeting or any tax increases on property?
As I said, Dean, this budget, 2021 budget, has a 0 tax increase,
Right.
tax rate increase. But it's important to distinguish that.
Yes, sir.
That we are talking about municipal portion of budget
Right.
where the control is with the mayor and council. We do not, the tax bill contains 4 different entity components: municipal, school,
Right.
county, fire districts, and as a 5th one, municipal, the county open space tax. So municipal tax represent about 20%
20%.
of the entire dollar. So it's 20 cents on a dollar, and all the service that we provide on that 20 cents on a dollar. So it's important to recognize and explain to the public that council or mayor doesn't have control. Board of Education is an independent agency.
Yes, sir.
County is an independent
Right.
agency. They set their budget, they set their levy, and then ultimately all of those budget combined to put together. County, there's a board of taxation call at the county. They set the ultimate tax rate.
Right.
So that's how the tax rate is established.
Okay. What impact, if any, has it had on the Moody bond rating that we've enjoyed?
I think that we were very careful, and we've always been careful about the rating impact. So Moody's rated us AA1, which is a one notch
Wow.
below AAA.
Okay.
But if you look at our bond, when we go out for long-term financing for our capital project, our interest rate that we get charged is sometimes better than AAA because the investment community rates Township very highly. It's very desirable, bonds that they want to purchase. So we
Yes,
get
sir.
a lot of competitive bid on our bond issues, and we get a very good rate. And at the end, the lower the rate, lower the cost to the taxpayer because we can do more capital
More with
projects.
Mayor, that's got to make you feel pretty good as the
Sure, that was
mayor
one of my
this
goals.
township.
Yes,
sir.
And one of the most important roles the mayor and Mr. Shah and I play is developing the budget, and I take that very seriously.
Yes, sir.
Over the past, I guess this is my 11th budget, but it's so important that the town's finances be in order so that we can help our residents provide the services. I believe we met all our municipal goals that we set this year. We haven't reduced any services. In fact, we've improved upon those services. We've minimized the tax impact with the
Right.
zero municipal tax increase. As Mrs. Shah has said, we have to collect that whole dollar of your tax, but I think it's only 19 cents, so we get a dime, a nickel, and 4 pennies out of that dollar,
Yes.
and we have to pay the rest of it whether we
Pay the
collect
rest
it or
of them,
not.
I know. Yeah,
So
how
boy,
much
that's
would I
some,
discuss that?
I don't
Yeah.
know whoever came up with that system.
That's
But
quite
we
a
have to
chore.
collect all that money and then distribute a large portion of it to other agencies. Yeah, I take it very seriously. I think as the mayor, a town that can't take care of itself can't take care of its residents.
No,
As
that's a
Himanshu
good
said,
point.
with our conservative plan, as I always said, that we always want to save and invest in our residents, and I think that makes everybody,
Right.
in the right place. Housing values have gone up. The housing market is booming
Yeah,
here in
I
Old
see
Bridge.
that. Yes.
So our investment in the community is really an investment in our residents. They are the stockholders in this company, and we are returning the dividends to them
Okay,
at
thank
the
you,
municipal
Mayor.
level.
Thank you. Himanshu, off the air, we talked a little bit about state budget caps. Could you just address those?
Sure. The budget, municipal budget, and the entire operation is very statutorily defined by under the state. We have to comply with all different kinds of state law and state mandate.
Yes, sir.
Well, there are two caps that state has imposed on all municipality in New Jersey. As one is on a spending cap. So all our expenses for the operation of all the departments and there are other expenses are within 2% cap limit. And then there is a second cap that they imposed recently, which is called levy cap. Now, municipality cannot increase their tax levy more than 2%. Of course, there are some exceptions for
Yes, sir.
certain things, but overall, we can only increase the expenses by 2%. Well, actually, the expenses can be maxed 2% because they set by consumer price index by state annually,
Yes,
and
sir.
sometimes they are below 2%. But those two caps makes the budget very difficult to put together.
I bet it does.
Because sometimes we don't have control over the cost. For example, health insurance. When we started budget process for 2021, we were going to hit with a 30% increase in our health insurance cost. And we had to work hard in negotiation, and we brought down to no increase. We changed the way we provide insurance to the employees. under the we call it there's a difference card program that allow us to increase deductible yet maintain the benefit to the employees. That allows the active employee to have a no health insurance cost increase for our active employee.
Okay.
But we still had to face increase for our retiree group that we provide.
How much does that impact contracts too and contract negotiations as well?
It does. Health insurance is one of the big components in our negotiation.
Right.
And Gene, we have 9 labor union that we negotiate.
Really?
We're going to start negotiating end of this year. All the contract is expiring end of this year, and we're going to have to start negotiating for next few years. And it's the important things to recognize that we have a good membership. They work well. Last negotiation, we had we negotiated contract that both us and union signed without going through a long arbitration process. So I'm hoping the same for the future, that we will have a good labor relationship, a good contract that is good for both sides.
Okay, thank you, Himanshu. How about you? Approximately how much of the budget is raised by property taxes, and how much of the revenue comes other ways?
The about 60% of our revenue comes from taxes,
Taxes,
property tax.
right.
And it's important to recognize that under the statute, municipalities are not permitted to have different types of taxes. We cannot impose sales tax. We cannot impose income tax.
Okay.
The only tax that we're allowed to impose is property tax. So, other than property tax, we have fees, permits, different revenues. For example, interest income. We generate interest income. There are fines related to violations, driving violations, court fines. Those are other revenue that other makes about
Sources,
40% of
okay.
that. And then, as Mayor indicated, we are very conservative in projecting our budget.
Right.
So when we project revenue, unlike federal government, unlike state government,
Right.
we are very conservative. We don't over project the revenue.
Right.
Actually, the law prevents us to project revenue more than what you actually collected in your prior year. Well, we always stay below prior year.
Okay.
And then when we project revenue, we look at saying, are we going to maintain that, or are we going to lower that? And many times we lower based on the future condition. And when we prepare budget, we don't look at 1 year, we look at multi-year, just to make sure that what we do today has not a dramatic negative impact on our future
Okay,
years.
one last thing, if I may, before we go to break, Himanshu. State aid. Did we get any money from Trenton?
Sore subject for me, Gene.
Oh, okay.
There is no such
Okay.
thing. This state does not provide any state aid to
Really?
municipality. We do get energy tax receipt. We share the energy tax receipt. In fact, when an energy tax receipt was imposed initially on utility companies, it was meant for municipality not to tax utility company for transmission line, the assets in the town, and it was in lieu of that, there was the energy tax receipt. Well, state, in their infinite wisdom, decided to siphon money out of that and reduce municipal portion of that to support their budget and their unbelievable spending patterns, to support there. But that's all we get from state.
Okay.
Other than that, a lot of mandates.
A lot of mandates, but
Yeah.
not too much help.
Yeah, they don't cover their own mandates.
Okay, Himanshu, thank you. I'm going to ask you to take a break right now. Folks, we're going to be going to a break. Please stay with us. We're talking about the approved Township 2021 budget with the mayor and with our business administrator, Himanshu Shah. Please stay with us and we'll be back in a moment.
COVID-19 is on the rise. It's more important now than ever to follow strict guidelines. Protect yourself and loved ones. Always wear a mask in public. Wash your hands frequently. Maintain a safe distance of at least 6 feet from others and work with contact tracers. It's also helpful to get your flu shot this year.
Together, we can stop the spread of COVID-19. For more information, visit middlesexcountynj.gov/COVID-19.
The COVID pandemic has forced arts venues across New Jersey to close their doors. We hope this is just an intermission, but your support is needed now more than ever before. Without it, many may never reopen, impacting countless local businesses and communities. The arts in New Jersey drive $662 million to our state's economy. Recovery depends on you. Learn how you can help at keepjerseyartsalive.org.
Fast-paced family life in need of a slowdown?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Did you know all those green shapes on maps are parks and forests? It's true. Visit discovertheforest.org and plan to visit a park or forest near you, instead of just wondering what it would have been like.
While the word forest might make you think of distant lands from far, far away, please note parks and forests are closer than you think, which means things like beautiful scenery, fresh air, and family time are also closer than you think.
Folks, welcome back to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. Our guest today is our Business Administrator, Himanshu Shah, and as I said earlier, we're discussing the 2021 Township budget. And we could pick up, Himanshu, we talked about objectives in the planning and in the budgeting. One thing we didn't cover, you may want to elaborate on, is there are other non-financial goals as well as the financial?
Yes, every time we meet and we discuss budget, we always emphasize on our goals and objectives. So the primary goal is, improve core municipal services. And what are the core municipal services?
Yes, sir.
Public safety. That's our primary function. We want to make sure residents are safe.
Right.
Roads. That's our public works department that provides road, snow clearing the snow, clearing the roads, keeping it clean, and the parks and recreation. So we always focus on those core municipal services and make sure that we continue to improve year after year. Obviously, we want to minimize tax impact.
Right.
The last 2 years, we have zero tax increase. We were fortunate to be able to do that. And then part of that is our goal is to make sure that we do long-term financial planning, that we don't look at the budget for 1 year. We look at the impact of what we do today is going to have a future budget impact, because it just rolls into the next years.
Okay, thank you, Himanshu.
but-
Maybe you were going to say
No,
something?
I'm just agreeing with Mr. Shah. It's important
Yeah.
that we don't plan for 1 year.
Made reference to these non-financial objectives, though. Better service, safety for the people.
Yeah, and the way we deliver them services, that's important to me.
Right.
It's important, Mr. Shah, our public service, the way our employees interact with the residents this year in 2020, and being, we're doing a lot online, virtual, but we're also we continue to do a lot in person.
Right.
Customer service is our number one non-financial objective, and I think Mr. Shah would agree with that.
Yep. And the communication.
Communication.
We have started with improving communication.
Right. I'm sure the residents appreciate that, too.
Yeah.
It's something tangible you can really
Sure,
see.
and that's all, that's our management team that's in place. They have their marching orders.
Is that reflected in the hotline at all? The hotline calls?
Yeah, we haven't
service.
been getting too many. Knock on
That's
wood.
good.
That's very good.
That's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Hotline emails.
Folks, if we can switch gears for a minute, could we talk a little bit about the capital budget?
Sure.
What is the capital budget in terms of dollars, and what does the capital budget do, and how far out does it look? Multi-part question.
We prepare a 6 years plan. In our budget, there is a 6 years plan presented to the council, to the public. So we start with the 6 years plan, but then we focus back on the current year. And the area, we want to make sure that residents benefit to that. Our big capital programs, and every year is in our capital plan, is the road improvement,
Yes, sir.
resurfacing. We have a drainage, curbing, and we recognize that when we do, the way we do now is that we do our curbing, drainage first, and then we resurface road, which lasts that road longer than,
Right.
if we were just doing the road resurfacing. So we change the order, and those threes are, I would say 80% of our capital budget goes into those three programs, and then supporting equipment that we need, vehicles that we need
Right,
to
equipment,
continue that,
things like that.
and
Smaller projects,
then small projects.
park
right.
improvements.
What is the dollar value right now of the capital budget? Much for
We
million
our
something?
our capital program ranges annually into the $4 to $5 million range.
Okay.
And so what we do is we're saying, okay, what are we retiring in a prior capital?
Oh, okay.
We in our amortization we have a principal payment. We
Yes,
make
sir.
sure that we don't exceed too much to that. We sometimes stay below, or that's the amount. And what that helps is that future budget doesn't have a dramatic impact on our debt service.
Okay. One thing I think people would be most anxious to hear about, and that is, I'm sure, comes under the capital heading, and that is Cottrell Farm. How are we doing on that?
Cottrell Farm is our ongoing project. First, I want to emphasize that we were able to receive some state grant, $1 million for the development of Cottrell Farm, and we have applied for additional grant, historical grant. We're still waiting for the response on that. But the Cottrell Farm is about 4-phase project that includes building rehab, which we have to do.
That's going on right now.
Historical
Yes.
building, that's ongoing. Second phase would be walking trails. And then we're going to maintain. There's a myth. Apple Orchard is going to be used for educational purpose with, for the school, and for people to enjoy the Apple Orchard. Is going to remain. So and then there's a pavilion, gazebo, lawn. There are a number of items, and there is a big plan online that our engineer has put together. So if resident wants to see, they can go online at oldbridge.com and see the plan. There's a community garden. Eventually, is going to build parking lot. I call that one of the most important recreation facility, because it's a passive recreation facility. It's going to be enjoyable by everyone in the town.
Right.
Young, old, seniors. Everybody's going to be able to go there. Walking trail is going to be a beautiful walking trail, and when it's complete, we're looking at probably get completion in about 2 years.
Okay, Mayor, I'm
The
sure
next
this
phase,
has
yes,
been-
Gene, is going to get people going to, in fact, as we speak right now, the utility work is going on at the site.
Yes, sir.
Improve electrical services is being run, water, sewer, that's all being upgraded right now as we speak. And the next phase, which I believe is going to be starting very soon, is the site work, where people, the parking lot is going to be constructed, the access driveways, and all those improvements now to allow the public to have access to the site are going to be starting very soon.
Mayor,
We're very
I know this
excited.
has been something that's been in top of your list for a long time.
One of the
We've
lists,
talked about
yeah.
it at many meetings, and it's finally coming to
Yes,
fruition.
yes,
so
I'm
it's got to
so,
feel good.
I couldn't be more pleased to see what's going on over there. The buildings look great. Everybody's working very hard over
It's
there.
amazing.
It
Brought
is.
that thing back.
Yes.
And it'll be interesting to see what can happen with some of the cultural
The
arts
opportunities
people.
are just endless
Cultural
once
arts.
we get it opened.
Okay, Mayor, before we go, would you like to deliver any closing comments to the public about the budget or about what's going on right now? We've had a tough year with the pandemic. There's been, as you said before, some issues arose because of the pandemic. But would you like to?
Oh, my message to the public is, everyone, please continue to be safe. We are going to get through this. I know people have suffered some tremendous loss out there.
Yes.
I've lost some close friends. It was just a very painful year, but despite all that, we've done our good job here. We've really done our due diligence. I'm very proud of all the elected officials here in town who've stepped up to the plate and understood what was going on and the challenges that we had met as an administration, challenges that we never thought we would face.
Right.
As we know, we met many a times.
Yes.
And we've been up to the task. I truly believe, and thank God that we've been able to move forward through these very difficult and challenging times. And I believe Old Bridge and the residents are in a better place than a lot of towns and cities throughout the state of New Jersey, because of the management team and the leadership and the people that I've been able to have work with this township.
And you know, Mayor, from what I've read, the township seems to maintain its standing as one of the safest.
Yes, again,
Townships to
we've been
come to.
named, I believe, the 15th in the country, 3rd in the state of New Jersey, and it says a lot about the residents who live here. That says a lot about the residents, says a lot about our police department.
Right.
It says a lot about our elected officials
Right.
that are committed to public safety. You know, I can only put the budget together. The council has to approve it. You know, they hold the wallet, as
They
they
hold the
say.
budget,
They hold the money. But they've been very supportive of my administration, and I really thank them, because it's being tougher and tougher to be an elected official. I see that firsthand. It's tough, very difficult position.
Mayor, if I can add one thing, I happen to be talking to business development manager Steve Mamakis before we went on
Yes.
the air, and he mentioned that we lost some business over the course of the pandemic, but we also gained.
Yes,
Some business at
I've
the
been
same
cutting
time.
ribbons.
Yeah.
You know, during
Still got the scissors out.
Still got the big scissors out. We
Okay.
did one a few weeks ago, and we're continuing the economic. Once we get out of this pandemic, and because before the pandemic we were booming.
I know.
We were really on a wow. It was almost a scary pace.
Right.
But now, as soon as we get through this, I think it's going to come back quick. We're going to be ready for it. We have some good things coming on in town. You know, with the golf course and the redevelopment area on Route 9. So it's a lot of good things are going to be happening.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor. Himanshu, thank you.
Thank you, Jan.
Folks, we hope we gave you some clarity about the budget, the things that you'll see emerging from the township as a result of the budget presentation, some of the activities that will be taking place. One thing I'd like to add before we close is urge all of you to get vaccinated so that we all can eventually build this herd immunity people talk about and prevent the further spread of this terrible coronavirus, COVID-19. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned. We're going to be trying to pick up here at Overbridge 15 in the coming weeks and months, because we have been in a little bit of a lull because of the pandemic. We're going to try to pick up programming and interviewing. So please watch OBTV 15. And thank you again. I'm Gene McLaughlin. Take care.
Changing a menu could help change an industry. Nikhil Nair and his NSF-funded team at Tufts University have developed a genetically modified yeast that can more efficiently consume a sugar called xylose.
Xylose is the second most abundant sugar in nature, and it's mostly found in plant material that's inedible to humans, so things like corn cob, leaves, stalks. So these are very rich in xylose. In our study, we found that yeast can be engineered to metabolize xylose very efficiently.
Changing the menu for yeast from glucose to xylose can have a big effect on one industry in particular, biofuels, a sustainable alternative to fossil fuels that could support much of our transportation needs. But the production of ethanol for biofuels typically requires feedstocks like corn, which is fermented by yeast, and that can compete with the food supply. But biofuels made from yeast fermenting xylose would have virtually unlimited and sustainable feedstocks from sources such as agricultural waste or non-edible crops grown specifically for their high energy content, like switchgrass or fast-growing poplar trees. Nair says allowing yeast to grow on novel nutrients could open the door to countless applications.
Yeast is not just a popular microbe to make bioethanol, but it's also important to make a lot of chemicals and drugs renewably. And so the outcomes from our study can make such processes much more economical.